Okay, so then the first thing that I would like to show you is the website of ETS, which is actually the company that develops and creates the TOEFL, right? ETS stands for Educational Testing System. So the first thing that you might want to do, you can do that as of right now. So once you're done with this demo class, you can go and then start registering for the test. Okay, to register for the test is something that you guys can do on your own, but you have to make sure that once you come to this website, you come here where it says TOEFL. Okay, so just because ETS, they do develop other tests, but you want to make sure that you come to TOEFL. Okay, and then here's all the information that you can find about the tests. So then what areas are they going to be testing you on? Some they also have some important updates now that we have COVID-19 going on. So then I would strongly recommend you to actually visit this website because it will have everything that you need to know about the test and what you need before you actually take the test. Having said this, then this is a place that you guys will come in, so then you can register. Okay, so then this is the website that you can come in and then register for the test. Now the test is offering different versions of the test. So then if your country is one of the countries that they're having, or they're offering the test on site, you can do that by choosing a testing center. But most of the testing centers right now are actually closed. And if that's the case, ETS has actually put out a home edition version. So you might want to check that out. All the information is on this website, so you could actually take the test at home. Okay. All right. So then that's one thing that I would like to show you. The other thing is, since this test, it was actually recently changed last year, back in August. The test used to take about 3.5 hours, but last year in August they have actually changed the test. So then they had actually they're always trying to look for ways that it could be a good experience for the test takers. So then they changed the test a little bit, and some of the areas got affected by the change. And so then we'll talk about those changes today. But once you're on this website, one other place that you want to go ahead and check that out, or is worth checking that out, it will be the test taker section. Here you can find free, you guys can get access to free sample tests, free resources, in addition to what will provide you as part of the course, which is another handful tool that you could use. Okay, so one of the areas that they actually changed were the listening, the reading, and also the speaking. Okay, so those were the three areas that they changed last year in August. This test, they will test you in four of the areas. Okay, they will test you on your listening, your reading, your writing, and your speaking. And everything is actually done through a computer. So what ETS does is that they put together a software. You download the software if you were to take this test at home through the TOEFL IBT Special Home Edition, and then that's basically what you'll need to take the test. However, if you do take this test on site, it will still be on a computer. You will still use a software that the testing center will download that for you. And then whether you take it at home, or whether or you do that on the testing site, you have to make sure that you follow some procedures, right? So then they will let you know what the procedures and the guidelines will be. So you have to make sure that you follow. Okay, so then the four areas they will test on those four areas that I already talked to you about: the reading, the listening, the writing, and the speaking. And the way that they do that is they test your English skills in a holistic way. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that grammar is not the only factor that they will take into an account. So then they will try to actually integrate all of these skills somehow, so then they can actually assess your skill. Not only that, then the reason why they do that is that they want to make sure that your English level is ready for an academic setting. Okay, so for instance, the first thing that they'll test you, that they'll actually test you on, will be the listening. Okay, so in the listening, you guys will have two types of recording. One will be a conversation, and then the other ones will be lectures. Okay, so in each recording will be different because they'll be testing different things. And then after you listen to a recording, then you will have some questions that you need to answer. Okay. Now here's the thing about the test itself. What will happen is as you're listening to the recording, you won't be able to see the questions. Okay, so then this is where you guys are going to be integrating other skills, and one of those skills are going to be note taking, right? So talking about the listening itself, note taking is one skill that is crucial and important in the listening section of this test. Okay, so in the course we will teach you basically the different ways, or what will be the, as far as best practices goes, we will teach you the best way to take notes, what sort of things you need to take notes, right? How can you identify what's important and what's not important? What are some of the things that are going to help you, or some of the main ideas, or some of the clues that you need to get from the listening, so then you use that information so then you can answer the question. Okay, now the other part of the test is, once, for instance, in the listening, once you listen to the recording, then the other part is to answer the questions. So then that's where you have to become very strategic as to how you're going to use the time, how you're going to spend the time by answering the questions. Okay, so then that's another thing that we teach you in these courses. We teach you about time management. What are some of the best tips that you guys can use, so then you can recognize the question that you will get. Not only the fact that you need to recognize the question, but then what will be the right skill, right? What will be the right skill or the right strategy that you need, so then you can recall it and then apply it. Okay, so that's also important when you're taking a standardized test such as this one, right? Knowing that all of the sections that you will get, they will be timed, right? For instance, in the listening, you will have two types of recordings, and I'm just trying to actually navigate through this website right now because they have changed it. And then okay, here's about the test. That's basically what I wanted to go. Okay, so as you can see here, it gives you all sort of information about the test, and then we're gonna go ahead and then pull up the listening here so you guys can see. Okay, so here it tells you what is in the listening section, what sort of things, how they're gonna actually assess your English skills. So as I was telling you, the listening section is designed to measure your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. And then this includes listening for basic comprehension, and then also pragmatic understanding, which is something that sometimes non-English speakers or non-native speakers do not practice that much, which is this part right here. So then your ability to infer when you hear a statement, or basically pay attention to the speaker's attitude, the speaker's tone of voice. These are all the pragmatic understanding questions that you will get on the test. And then you basically need to select the correct choice based on the statement that you hear, right? So you will get two types of listening items in the speaking section: lectures and conversations. Now, here's the thing about the TOEFL test. You're not only going to get listening or any listening skill just in the listening section. You also get listening in the speaking, and then you also get listening in the writing. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that this test is, it's trying to actually assess your English in a holistic way. And that's just because they would like to integrate all of these skills in other sections of the test as well. Okay, so you will get 3 to 4 lectures. Okay, and then each lecture will take about 3 to 5 minutes long, with 6 questions each per lecture. Okay, so one lecture, it means that you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 5.5 minutes as far as the length goes. And then after you're done with the lecture, then you're going to be presented with 6 questions for you to answer based on the lecture that you just heard. All right. Same thing with conversations. Then we'll get you conversations. You'll get 2 to 3 conversations, and then each conversation will be with 2 speakers, and each conversation will take about 3 minutes long. So the conversations are shorter, whereas lectures are actually a lot longer. And then you understand, you will get to understand in just a second why that's the case. Okay. Now each conversation will come with 5 questions each. Okay. So then you can pretty much do the math. Okay, I'm gonna get 5 questions per conversation. Let's just say that you get 2 conversations. So then that's about 10 questions that you will get for conversations. And then if you get 3 lectures, if you multiply 6 times 3, so then that will be 18. So that you will end up actually getting a total of 28 questions for the standard version of the test. Now, why is it that we have a range of numbers here, 3 to 4, 2 to 3? The reason why we have a range of the amount of lectures or the conversations that you guys get is because this test actually has 2 versions of the test. Pretty much most students get the standard version. If you get the standard version, that means that you're going to get 3 lectures and 2 conversations, meaning 28 questions in total. However, if they get you the extended version, that means that you're going to get 4 lectures, but then you also get 3 conversations. So instead of getting 28 questions, now you're going to get more questions, but then they'll also give you more time. Okay, so then that's the only difference between the standard version and the extended version. How do you know that you're going to get the extended version? Well, that's the catch. You don't know, right? That's something that they randomly do. Okay, so then it's not like they're picking on you. They want to pick on your last name. No, that's not the case. They just randomly assigned an user, and so if your user ends up actually getting the extended version, you have to you have to stick with it, right? There's nothing that you can do. But remember, there's not a major difference. The only difference really is in the amount of questions, but then you also get more time just because you're getting more questions. Okay. All right, so then I like to show you these numbers because knowing that this is a time test, this is where your mind should be, should start thinking about how much time or how much time you have to actually spend per question. Okay, knowing that you have to answer either 28 questions, or let's see, if you get the extended version of the test, you get 4, let's see, 4 times 6, that will be 24. And then if you get 3 conversations, 15, so then that will be, let's see, about 39 questions, 41 questions, right, for the extended version. So then time is also an important factor, right? So you can take notes as you're listening through the recordings, and then that's also a helpful skill that we're going to talk about it today, right? So you can take notes. They allow you to take notes throughout the test, so then that can help you answer the questions. And you have 41 to 57 minutes to complete the section. So 41, that is if you get the 28 questions, or 57 minutes if you get the extended version, but then you have to think about that you have more questions that you need to answer, right? So you can see that this test is timed, and then that's also important to consider as you work through the test. Okay. Any questions so far about the listening?
No, not yet.
Not
Not
yet. Okay.
exactly. Not really.
Another typical question that I get from students is how many times students are able to actually listen to the recording, when unfortunately, and the sad news is only one time, right? Since this is a listening test, you only get the chance to hear the recordings once, right? And then that's it. So then that's why your number one priority as you're listening to the recording will always be taking notes. Okay, so then that's also important to know. Can you skip questions as you go through the listening section? The answer to that will be no. As a matter of fact, the software will force you to get an answer in. You cannot skip questions as you go through the listening, but then in the reading you will be able to do that. In the listening you can't, just because it's a listening test. You need to be able to submit an answer, and not just that, just because if you skip one question, then you're not going to get a score. You don't know, right? They don't penalize you for an incorrect answer, so might as well go ahead and submit a score. Okay, submit a question. So then you don't know, maybe you can score it. If not, then nothing is going to happen. All right, so then that's the listening, right? So then you get a mix of conversations and lectures, and then after you're done with the conversation or lecture, you will get the questions. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about the reading. So then, in what ways, or in which ways, in this case, they will test your reading skills. So your reading skills is a little bit different, maybe different from any other tests that you guys have actually taken, or any other English test that you've actually taken before. As I said, they try to do it holistically, right? So then this may look like a reading comprehension test, with the only difference that is sort of a reading comprehension test, but then they will also be looking at other skills within the reading skill set. Okay, so in the reading section is designed to assess how well you can read, not only the fact that you can read, but then understand the kind of materials, or the material that they'll be used in an academic setting or an academic environment. Okay, so they will give you 3 to 4 reading passages, and all of these passages are academic. Okay, there will be academic passages, right? And then each passage, as far as the length goes of each passage, it will be anywhere from 700 words, so sometimes 850 words. So some of them will be quite dense, right? They seem to be very long, right? And then each passage will come with 10 questions per passage. Okay, so then if you get 3 passages, that means that you're going to get 30 questions for the whole reading test. And then if you get 4, then that means you get 40 questions. Okay, and again, here's your time limit. So if you get 3 passages, you're going to get 54 minutes to answer 30 questions. But then if you get 4 passages, you get 72 minutes. So then you can answer 40 questions. Okay. Um, as the listening, as we just talked about the listening briefly, the reading section is a little bit different, because here you can actually skip questions. You can go back and forth, where that's something that you cannot do that in the listening. Okay. Now, one typical question that I get from students is, okay, students come to me and then sometimes ask me, how difficult will these reading passages be? Well, to give you some comfort, right? So not to worry too much. So you don't have to worry too much about it. These reading passages are actually taken from university textbooks. Okay, so then to give you some comfort, the level of difficulty starts from last year of high school, right? And then it goes all the way up to the first year of your freshman year in college. Okay, so all of the reading passages that you guys get will be introductions to a particular topic or a subject. So it will be the typical biology 100s, the introductory levels of biology. It will be introductory levels of business or history, and so on and so forth. Okay, but you have to understand that they will all be academic. And by saying that they're academic passages, you will be exposed to academic vocabulary, right? Academic material, right? So then that is actually expected. So then the passages cover a variety of different subjects. So don't worry if you're not familiar with the topic of a passage, or words that perhaps you guys, you've never been exposed to some certain words that you're going to see in the passage. So then that's not the point. That's not the main purpose of the reading. The main purpose of the reading passage is that you just need to understand enough, so then you can answer the question. Okay. So then let that be your purpose, and not getting 100% reading comprehension. All right. So then that's the reading. Okay, again, all of the reading questions that you will get, there will be multiple choice. You will get the question. You will get one excerpt from the reading passage. All of the questions will send you back to a particular area of the reading passage. So then you will have questions such as, according to paragraph 1 or according to paragraph 3, tell me this. Okay, and then which at that point your screen will split up into two. On one side, you will have the portion of the reading passage that you will need. And then on the other side, you will have the question. And then you will have an arrow. You will see an arrow, which is the one that points to the paragraph that you need to look at. Okay, so then that will be the reading section. Any questions about the reading?
No.
No? Okay, I do have a question for you guys. How much you guys get to read on a day-to-day basis? How much reading you get to do in English?
For my work, I have to read in English almost every day.
Okay, what kind of work do you do?
I work for a travel agency,
Okay, what kind
so I
of
get
mhm,
I get documents from the passengers and documents from my supervisor, so I need to read them
okay.
and answer it.
Okay, good. Perfect. What about you, Perla?
To be honest with you, I don't get to read in English a
Okay.
lot. It can pass days, but I don't think I have an issue reading in English. I actually think I have good comprehension in reading in English. So I don't know. Maybe we're at the same level, even though I don't get to read as much.
Okay, all right. Okay, the reason that I asked this is just reading is a skill, as you know, right? And the only way that we improve that skill is the more that you read, the better that you actually the more that you improve the skill. Okay, so then if you're not doing much reading right now, this is the time, on top of what you will be doing in the course. That's something that I would strongly recommend you to start doing, right? So then start reading things that you enjoy and things that you don't enjoy, because on the test, they're going to give you a mix of the two. Right? It's not like you can go ahead and pick us. Okay, I enjoy this topic a lot more than this other one right here. So this is the one that I'm going to choose from your reading. That's not going to be the case, right? So then they're going to give you anything and any academic material, any academic topic is actually fair game. Okay, so then you have to be ready. Okay, now along with that, one other typical thing that it tends to happen for, in students is, do I really need to know about all of these topics? Okay, are they expecting me to know about all these topics? The answer to that will be no. Okay, so one other thing that tends to happen, and one common mistake, there's a lot of students that actually base their answers on the knowledge that they have or a pre-knowledge about the topic. And then that's not the case here. Remember that they're testing your reading skills. So then that's where we come in, right? We come in to help you identify what will be the right skill, so you guys can actually apply that to the question or to the reading passage that you're going over with, right? So then those are all the things that you guys will be learning in this course. Okay, was there a question? I thought,
Yeah, actually,
yes.
now that you're mentioning it, I think is yeah, that should be the things that I should be doing actually. And I actually have a book in English and I didn't even finish it, to be honest.
Sometimes that
But
happens. Sometimes that
now
happens.
that now that you're telling me, like, yeah, it's quite reasonable.
Right, exactly. So, what exactly we'll be doing when you guys will be on the reading section? Well, we'll go over some of the skills that, especially that are so specifically for this type of test. Because remember, this is you have to remember that this is a time test. We're not reading for pleasure here, which is different. So we'll be touching on things such as summarizing, paraphrasing, inferring for information. We'll also be touching on reading for details, which is also, it can be known as reading between the lines. We'll also teach you about active reading, right? Some students spend some precious time reading the entire passage when it's something that is you're not supposed to be doing. So we'll teach you some techniques, especially the techniques of scanning and skimming for information, because those will be your, your primary skills that you'll need, so then you can do well on these questions. Okay, so then that's as far as the reading goes. Then once you're done with the reading, so the reading is it's the section that you guys will be working on first. That's the order of the test. So the reading goes first, then you will continue with the listening. Once you're done with the listening, you guys will have a 10-minute break. So then they'll give you a 10-minute break if you want to rest your brain, because after those two beasts, the reading and the listening, you want to rest a little bit, or you can use that time to go to the restroom, or then get something to drink, and then you'll come back to do the two remaining sections, which are your speaking and your writing. Okay, so let's talk about the writing just briefly here. So just give me 1 second. We'll share the screen again. Okay. Okay, so then we'll do the speaking first. So then after your break, after your 10-minute break, then you'll come back, and then your speaking is the one that you will do next. The speaking section is the shortest section of the test. So it only takes about 15 minutes, 15 to 18 minutes at the most. And basically, there are four questions. There will be four different tasks that basically they go hand in hand with real life situations that you may get to face both inside or outside of campus at a university. Okay, so then they have the two scenarios that they'll be testing you on. Question number one, it's called an independent question or an independent task, and that's because it basically they're asking you a question that you can give, or you can express your own ideas and your own opinions and experiences when you respond. Okay, now in the speaking section, all of the questions that you guys get, that will be timed. All right, and then you have such a short amount of time to actually deliver your response, so it's very important that not only you get to know the structure, how you're going to actually deliver your response, but then also all of the areas or all of the criteria that the examiners, in this case, who will be the one who will be listening to your responses, and then obviously grant you a score. You need to know what those criteria are. So then we work with the students in these courses, help them to understand what is it that they really need to know, how they're supposed to deliver their response, and then we do a lot of practicing on the speaking part. Okay, so that's the first question. It's very open. It's always going to be a familiar topic. Usually they will give you a question that has to do with you choosing or making a preference out of the two situations or two choices that will be presented to you. So that's basically question number one. Then questions through 2 to 4, these questions are called integrated speaking tasks, and they're called integrated because they require you to combine your other English skills or language skills, such as listening and speaking, listening, reading, and speaking, right? Or listening, reading, and speaking at the same time, just as you would in or out of the classroom. Okay, so then that's why they're called integrated. For these questions, one typical example of that will be that they will start you by having you read a short paragraph, and then you will listen to a conversation, right? And then you will get a question about that. Okay, so then these questions are a little bit different from question number one, just because you are dealing with two sources, and the way that you have to deliver your response, it will be based on the sources, the listening and the conversation, sorry, the reading and the conversation, and not about your own opinion about the topic. Okay, but both of these questions, both of these parts of the speaking will be timed, right? So for the independent, you guys get 45 seconds to deliver your response, and then for these ones over here, Questions 3 to 4, you get a little bit more time. You get 60 seconds to deliver your response just because you're dealing with two sources here. Okay, as you can see here, you will get 15 to 30 seconds of preparation. You will have some preparation time before you deliver, and then you will get your 40 or 60 seconds depending on which question you're dealing with. Okay, it's important to understand that these are time limits or time frames. So it doesn't mean that you have to use all the 45 seconds or the 60 seconds, but best practices actually show that those students who actually use most of these seconds or most of this time are the ones who actually deliver a fully and well-developed response, which is basically what they want. Okay. So you will be wearing you will be using a headphone with an adjusted microphone. That's if you're taking the test on site. If you're taking, however, if you do this your own home, then just with a headset that you will be able to actually speak through, then they'll be fine. Okay, but they will have to go through all the guidelines and then making sure that they follow the instructions given to you by the exam. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of the speaking. Any questions about the speaking? No? Okay, let's move on to the last section, the writing. Okay, they will also test your writing skills, and then they do that with two tasks, just as you had the same kind of task that you guys had in the speaking section. You will get it in the writing section. In the writing section, you first start with the integrated writing task, which it takes about 20 minutes. This is how long it will take you to actually write up your response. So here, they will start you with a short reading. They will have you read a short passage. This will be an academic passage. It's not going to be like the long ones that you guys get in the reading passage, but it takes about 4 paragraphs. It's about 4 paragraphs long, and then you will listen to a short lecture, and then they will ask you to write your response based on what you read and what you listened to. Okay, so then this one right here, a lot of students think that it's an essay that they need to write. So this writing task, it does not follow an essay format, so it's a different kind of a format, which will also teach you as part of this course how to put this format together. What are some of the things that you need from the reading? What do you need to understand from the reading? What do you need to understand from the listening? So then you can put together your ideas, and then you can craft your response so it will be appealable and then also compelling enough for the examiners who will be reading your response in this case. Okay. So then that you will have 20 minutes to write up your response. You will do it on a computer. You will type it up, right? And so it takes about 20 minutes, and then there's not a word limit for this task. They only want you to write a response that is anywhere from 150 words to 225 words. Okay, so as long as you are within that range, then you should be good to go. However, then once you start working on the independent writing task, which takes about 30 minutes, that will give you 30 minutes to actually write an essay, as you can see here. So write an essay based on a personal experience or opinion in response to a writing topic. So then this one here is different from this from the integrated writing task. So here is the typical essay that I assume that you guys have actually written before, right? So then you have to make sure that in your essay you have an introduction, a formal introduction, and then you have body paragraphs and obviously a conclusion. So then not only the format is important, but then the content within your essays. So in the course, we'll let you know what it takes to actually write a good essay, which in most of the cases, this will be persuasive essays. So we'll go ahead and review the writing process with you. The 3 writing stages, which are pre-writing, writing, and then revision stages, right? So then we want to make sure that once you finish writing your response, then you have some time so then you can proofread it, and then you can minimize as much errors as you can. Okay. All right. So then that's 30 minutes. Once 30 minutes over, then the test is actually over, and then you can go out and celebrate now that you've actually taken the test. Okay. All right. So then that's as far as the test. As you can see, it's still a long test, but as I said, it used to be longer than the 3 hours that now it takes to go through the test. Used to be 3.5 hours, almost close to 4 hours before. So then they have actually chopped down a lot of the areas, a lot of the sections. So then you can now have a positive and an enjoyable experience as you take the test. Okay. So any questions about the test? What is the test about, or the sections that you will get on the test?